I think you come to the Belgian to win it.
Wabash always fight. Hello and welcome to the Don Morel Show for the 2022 college football season. And it's your opportunity each week to hear some of the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And Coach, welcome to the 2022 season with a big game coming up, the Gentlemen's Rivalry, the Gentlemen's Classic against Hampden-Sydney College. But before we get into the specifics of that game, how has the beginning of camp gone, the first week of the regular practice period, and what are your early thoughts about this football team?
All good. We've had a great camp. We played a couple scrimmages. Those went well for us. And now I think we're just really ready. We are ready to start playing some games.
You mentioned the scrimmages, and you scrimmaged two opponents in 1 week. You played Indiana Wesleyan at Indiana Wesleyan on a Monday. You were at Rose-Hulman on a Thursday, and that's something that you really like to do. What are the benefits of that to the team and to the coaching staff?
I think you just get better work in. There's a different sense of urgency rather than just going out to practice. Flaws that you have get exemplified, and it's great for the coaches and the players alike.
Well, it's also got to be beneficial to get a chance. You're looking at all the film from camp of your players against your players, and now you're getting an opportunity to see them against someone else. What are some of the differences that you see in those situations where, we notice this when it's our offense versus our defense, but boy, this looked a little different against Indiana Wesleyan, or this looked different against Rose-Hulman?
So I think just the logistics of a football game where you're trying to get a punt return team out there. One of the guys on the punt return team who's the backup linebacker got hurt. So now you've got to get the next guy. You get to work through those problems, and then you get to see the different. Indiana Wesleyan is a big zone team. Rose-Hulman is a big man team. You get to work two different football concepts within a week, and then you have complete control over the situation where you say, "Boy, we're going to play two teams in a week." That sounds horrible, but you're playing the ones for 4 series 1 week and 5 the next, or whatever. You get to control the whole thing.
Let's break it down. Let's take a more in-depth look at the offense. Obviously, things start with the returning North Coast Athletic Offensive Player of the Year in quarterback Liam Thompson. Well known by now. He spent his second year in the Manning Passing Academy through the summer. What improvements have you seen from Liam heading into camp and into this first game against Hampden-Sydney?
Well, there are, I think playing a quarterback position is like learning a second language, and it takes time. Peyton Manning's first year with the Colts, he threw 29 interceptions. Liam has slowed the game down out there tremendously in his mind, takes advantage of our good players, believes in players, formations, and plays, has developed from when he was a skinny guy here playing in 2019, which now seems like an eternity ago, to where he is today. Consummate leader, 2-time captain, and he's a junior, just leads by example, and our team follows him.
In the backfield with Liam, you've got two dynamic runners, Donovan Snyder, who was the only 1,000-yard rusher in the North Coast Athletic Conference last year, a first-team all-conference selection. You've got another great back to balance him with in Cade Campbell. Talk about the running game and how that helps not only with the passing game, just the offense in general, being able to run the football as well as throw it.
What's funny, a year ago, coming out of the mess that was COVID, we didn't have any running backs really returning. Donovan and Cade had never played in a game at Wabash College, and now they're like the old men 12 months later. But they're both different types of runners, but really add to the offense with what they bring to the table.
Talking to Coach Olmstead, the offensive line coach, he's really excited about the potential of this offensive line. It's a good mixture of some guys coming back with experience, led by all-regional center and all-conference center Joe Mullen, You've got some other veterans on the line, and you've got some new faces as well. Talk about the offensive line overall.
We do, and obviously it starts with Joe Mullen, Cameron Ford, Mark Castor. These are all big physical kids that have been in the program for a while, and I think they're going to do a great job. Cameron Ford started in the Bell game last year and did a absolutely super job. Cannon Kelly will get his first start. Very good player out of Brownsburg. Quinn Scholler has come in and won a starting job as a freshman, which rarely happens here. The guys who have done it have been incredible players. Kyle Stucker, Tim Leith, Trey Taylor, multiple year all-conference players. But it's a great group. They are big and very physical.
Before we move to the defensive side of the ball, we'll talk special teams quickly. The first big obvious open spot is the punter position. You lose two-time All-American Joey Ane. You also lost an experienced kicker in Jacob Handley. So Brigham Anderson returns, did see a little action on kickoffs. Special teams, what are your thoughts on that coming out of camp heading into this first game?
If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said sick to my stomach, but we have worked through that. The scrimmages were a great help, and whether it's Brigham Anderson, Brody Rucker, both those guys can handle all phases. Charlie Brady returns as a snapper. That's really important in this league. Carson Goodman has been a holder for 3 years. So where we're light in some experienced spots, they have been settled down by some of the veterans.
Get a chance to move to the defensive side of the ball, and while we want to hear from you about the defense, we also had a chance to talk to new defensive coordinator Mike Ridings. So here's an opportunity for our fans to get to hear from Coach Ridings for the first time. Coach Ridings talking about his defensive unit heading into the Hampden-Sydney game this weekend.
So starting off with the offseason, the guys have bought in quickly and working to learn the scheme. And then in fall camp, we've really tried to emphasize just not making the same mistake twice and learning from those mistakes. And then I've really seen some growth in just certain guys, but definitely in those scrimmages where they're live situations and seeing what our situational football knowledge is on the defense. And really, I think we've played with great effort, and we're just trying to fix a few mistakes. But the guys again locked into learning some things. But it's been great to get a good look at another competition.
What can the fans who will be sitting in the stands behind us on Saturday for the Hampden-Sydney game, what can they expect to see from your defensive unit? Yeah,
we've talked all the time about the first thing is just run to the football, right? Are you in your commitment to the football team? We're going to run to the football. We're going to tackle and create takeaways. We just really want to be able to affect the quarterback, eliminate explosive plays, and be great in the run game. And overall, I think that the Wabash alums and the fans are going to be excited about what they see.
Who have some of the players that you've really seen take to this defense that'll either be starters or key players that we'll see on the team? Who are some of the names we can look for this season?
Yeah. I would say just starting on the front would be Cade Lansdale. You got Clayton McPeak. And then inside you have Stephen Thomas, Will Olive, and then also Owen Volk, Jamari Washington. So really, we're excited about the front four that we're going to, again, be able to defend the run and affect the passer. We've got some big guys up front. And then in the linebacker play, Joe Rios as a returner. Cooper Jarvis will be a starter. He's had a great spring and really good fall camp. And then, in the back end, you got Jose Franco and Will Netting that are going to be returners. And they've done a good job, especially really communicating and setting the tone for the back end.
Again, that's defensive coordinator Mike Ridings with his thoughts on the defense. And before we turn to Hampden-Sydney, I omitted one group from our offensive discussion. Talk about the wide receivers, a very talented group. And it's a deeper group than we've really seen in the past few years. You bring back great experience. Cooper Sullivan, another all-conference pick. and a lot of depth around him with Derek Allen and some of the other receivers in that core.
Derek Allen, Heisman Skeens, Jacob Riddle, Penn Stoller, Zane Thomas, Connor Thompson, Cade Short. It is a talented group of guys, and it's interesting to me, they're all very young because they played 1 year of football, most of them, but they're all juniors. So excited to have any one of those kids can make a big play.
Then we'll jump the tight ends as well with Penn Stoller. We'll get
Zane
an opportunity
Thomas.
there. Zane Thomas playing that tight end position as well.
Gavin Patrick is another really good player for us too. So we have tremendous depth at that spot.
Talking about your team, now let's talk about the opponent. The Gentleman's Classic, Hampden-Sydney. We've gone through this before where they've made the trip here, then we've made the trip there. What is that like? Making a long travel trip, getting in on a Friday, getting settled, getting your legs under you, getting some rest, and then playing a football game on Saturday. What does that trip do to a team?
I mean, it presents a challenge, but whether it's Wabash going to D.C. or Hampden-Sydney, coming here, you've got great kids. They're mature. They attend an all-male school. They know how to handle tough things. I have no doubt they will handle the trip very well.
They bring back a fifth-year player at quarterback, a 2-year starter, first-team all-conference player. What have you seen on film from last season that you'll expect to deal with from them both on offense and defense?
They're talented on offense, certainly at the quarterback spot. They have a new running back who we think is going to be, they had a very good running back last year that graduated, so we have no doubt they've replaced at that spot. And then I think they have 2 wide receivers that can hurt you deep in the passing game, so we're going to have to be, you just heard from Mike on that. We've got to be great on that piece of it. Talented, mature group. And I think for them it's a treat too to get to play in this game. It really is.
And a veteran coach on the other sideline opposite you, who is on the verge of becoming their all-time winningest coach in program history. So he certainly knows the game and will provide some challenges as well.
I think Coach Favreau is in his 25th year at Hampden-Sydney and had his hard to do in this business.
Coach, one thing for fans to watch for in the game, other than the scoreboard, knowing that Wabash is playing the kind of football you expect them to play?
It would be the first game catastrophe or disaster. Last year against Rose-Hulman, we had a play where we actually lost 53 yards on one play. You hope it doesn't happen to you. But when it's over, and you've got to recover from that. Certainly, live special teams is always exciting, too.
Coach, best of luck on Saturday, and I know we'll have an opportunity to talk to you next week.
Thank you.
You've been watching The Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. We will talk to you next week.
I think you come to the Belgian to win it.
Wabash always fight.